Chet, I know this is almost always a theme with you all, but the paint defense, the ability to limit them, I think, under 30 points in the paint in this one. What was key within the 5-man unit to just make sure they weren't getting any straight line stuff and no easy stuff?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is, it's 3 things. It's communicating and executing, and then just always making hustle plays to have each other's back. No matter how well you execute or communicate, there's always going to be some sort of breakdown at some point on one of the 100-something plays that there are in a game, and when that happens, you just got to have each other's back, fly around, and we did a good job of that. We weren't perfect. We can get better and improve in that area, but great effort tonight.
Chet, there's a clip floating around pregame of you were trying to get a feel for the ball, and Dylan Brooks wasn't trying to let you see the ball. I just wonder, what have you learned about the role gamesmanship plays in a series, and what have you learned about the way you want to respond to stuff like that?
I wouldn't hand him the ball either, so I didn't take it personal. He has his persona that he plays, and I think he wanted to give it to his guy first, but I still got my touch before the game started, so it's all good.
And naturally, with the way Dub's year went, I think people are wondering about the shape of his hamstring or his wrist, stuff like that. I guess, what'd you see from him today? And I guess you saw him all week. What sort of shape does he look like he's into you?
He looks pretty good to me. He's a hell of a player, a hell of a talent, and if he's out there on the floor, he's having a big, huge impact on the game. Tonight we saw it in the stat sheet, which we do almost every single night, and he works so hard to be healthy and be out there with us. He wants to play so bad, he loves to play, so we're happy to be out there with him. And again, he had a hell of a game tonight.
Chet, what'd you make of the touchdown catch you had there at the end of the first quarter, and what makes Jay Will so good at throwing those?
I think it's delusional confidence. He believes he's a Hall of Fame quarterback or pitcher or somebody. And then, he's got a great wide receiver on the other end. But, credit to him. He put the ball right where I could go get it and make a play.
And then you guys started last year's playoff run with a similar big win in Game 1 of Round 1 against Memphis. Did the same tonight. Is that important for you guys to sort of set the tone early on in this postseason?
Yeah, I think it's important to set the tone. What the scoreboard says at the end of the game is irrelevant. Whether you win by 1 point or more than that, it's just one win, kind of on this journey. We can't compare it too much to, what we did last year, because these are 2 different teams, 2 different players. Phoenix is really good. They're in the playoffs for a reason. So we have to look at them for who they are and try to attack that each game. And, we did a good job of taking advantage of the opportunity tonight. And, we have another one on Wednesday.
Can you speak to just how much of a boost you guys get from the home crowd, especially come postseason time?
Yeah, they're amazing. I say it all the time that we wouldn't be here without them. So we try to do our best to reciprocate that love and show them that love every single night. They're the effort that they put in to come to games. They work hard to be able to afford to come to games, and they're spending their hard-earned money to come to games. So we have to go out there and with that understanding and give them our all, play as hard as we can. You're never guaranteed wins in the NBA, but when you have a fan base that backs you like that, shows up to the games, gets as loud as they were tonight, you got to do everything you can to pay them back with a win.
And then with today being the anniversary of the OKC bombing, you guys talk all the time about the culture you've established here. Just how much is the way that this community has bounced back from that kind of show you guys what it means to be resilient?
Yeah, I was born after that event, so like I never saw it on the news or anything. I'd kind of heard of it, but I didn't really know the extent of that event until I got here. I went and saw the memorial, the museum, really understood how it impacted the community. And, I think that seeing that and, learning the response that the city had to that and how they came together, that was my first time really understanding what Oklahoma City is. And, the fan base reminds me of that same thing every single night. Couldn't be happier to be here, and I'm glad we were able to come away with a win. Yeah.
Chet, to your right, I know you're very familiar with the phrase basketball is a game of runs, but when you guys put up a lead like you did tonight, can you talk about the mental discipline that it takes to not let your foot up off the gas?
Yeah. There's every situation is affected by human nature in a different way. If you're down big, you can have a tendency to quit or give up. If you're up big, you can kind of take your foot off the gas. And, there's a lot of situations where you have to fight that human nature and really just go out and have discipline to focus on what needs to be done on that possession, focus on that task, and not play the scoreboard. The only time you want to play the scoreboard is, on a last possession situation or end of game situation. Other than that, you're trying to do everything to give yourself the best chance to win the game and improve over the course of a game. So I think we did a great job of that tonight. Everybody that was out there, played the right way, played together, and I think it showed.
Chet, your rookie season, you played pretty much exclusively solo big man minutes last year, obviously adding Hart. There's some growing pains now. You guys really hit your stride around this time last year. Can you sort of speak to your comfortability in playing solo or with another big and the value of that versatility to you guys' lineups?
Yeah, I think it's great for us to have multiple buttons to push. And I feel like over time I've continued to improve at both looks, but I also think I have such a long way to go to continue to improve, at no matter what lineups on the floor. And as a team, it's definitely a different look as a team too. So we're continuing to grow in those areas, and we've seen a lot of really good things coming from it, but I think we can see even better things.
This is just one of what you hope is 16 wins this time of the year. But what does it say when you didn't, offensively, you guys didn't have some great offensive explosion? Nobody had just like 30 or 40 points. You still win by 35 points.
Yeah.
What does this win say?
Yeah, I think it's just a testament to how much this game is a team game, and how much we have confidence in everybody all the way down the roster. As a team, I'm sure the coaching staff would say the same thing. We have so much talent on this team, but even better than that, we have guys that want to use their talent in the right ways, playing together, making the right plays, trying to win the basketball game. And, when you have talent with that type of intention, it's going to show, and tonight was one of those nights.
Hey, Chet, because of Shai's offensive ability, not a lot of talk about his defense. He has 2 blocks tonight, and, it's not out of the norm that he would have some big defensive plays for you guys. What impresses you most about his defense?
I think, one, the effort. He puts so much effort in on the offensive end to also exert that on the defensive end is, I think it takes intention, and, he does an amazing job of that. And then I'd also say the plays that are impressive are the ones where he kind of makes rangy plays. I think the one where he was low man and he got a block at the rim against somebody bigger than him, I think that was pretty impressive. We've seen that a lot. I don't know what his wingspan is, but he plays like it's a lot longer than it is. And, he's had some pretty impressive kind of rangy blocks, steals, defensive plays. And, that's what makes him a special player.